Okay, dear children, you are going to see the third stanza. The weather is always too hot or cold. Summer and winter alike they scold. What a great line the poet has usually here. The weather is always too hot or cold. Okay, summer and winter alike they scold. Nothing goes right with the folks you meet down on that gloomy complaining street. One more time. The weather is always too hot or cold. Summer and winter alike they scold. Nothing goes right with the folks you meet down on the gloomy complaining streets. The poet says here, the poet emphasizes here, whether the weather is too hot or too cold, they complain about it. They did not even leave the natural phenomena also. The weather, the Crumple family did not even leave the weather conditions also. Yeah. Whether the weather is too hot or cold, they complain about it. And they scold alike. If it is winter or summer, everything goes wrong with the people living down on the sad, complaining streets. In this line, the poet says that the weather is always too hot or cold. Okay? And summer and winter alike they scold. So the Crumple family always finding fault into the natural conditions and natural sceneries. In the weather, they find the fault of the weather and hot or cold. Okay? And nothing goes right, and summer and the winter alike they scold. Nothing goes right with the folks you meet down on the gloomy, underline. Gloomy means depressing or frightening. Folks mean the people. Folks mean the people you meet down on the gloomy. Gloomy means, what is the meaning? Depressing and frightening. Yes, gloomy, complaining streets. They growl at the rain. They growl at the sun, because they find the fault at everything. Okay, and snarling and shouting. Okay, they growl at the rain and they growl at the sun. In fact, their growling is never done. And if everything pleased them, there isn't a doubt. They would growl that they would nothing to grumble about. They growl at the rain and they growl at the sun. In fact, their growling is never done. And if everything pleased them, there isn't a doubt. And they would growl and they would nothing to grumble about. In this stanza, the poet says that here, the grumble about the Crumple family, okay, they grumble about the rain. They did not leave anything at all in this world. They grumble about the rain. If it rains heavily, and growl about the sun. If it is hot, it is fact that their growling never gets completed or stopped. And if everything pleased them, there is no doubt that they will grumble, that there is nothing to grumble about. Oh, the poet has used fantastic lines in this poem. Once again, I would like to repeat the fourth stanza's meanings. They grumble about the rain. If it rains heavily, and growl about the sun. If it is hot, it is fact that their growling never gets completed or stopped. And if everything pleases them, there is no doubt that they will grumble that there is nothing to grumble about. Dear children, we have completed the fourth stanza. Up to the fourth stanza, one more time I would like to read. The weather, yes, see the first page. There is a family, nobody likes to meet, they live, it is set on complaining streets, in the city of never satisfied, the river of discontent beside. They growl at that, they growl at this, whatever comes, there is something amiss. And whether their station be high or humble, they are all known by the name of grumble. The weather is always too hot or cold. Summer and winter alike they scold. Nothing goes right with the folks you meet down on the gloomy, complaining street. Yes. They growl at this. They growl at this rain. They growl at the sun. In fact, their growling is never done. And if everything pleased them, there isn't a doubt. And that is growl that they would nothing to grumble about. Dear children, we shall meet in the next video.